Steady love. Ooh. Steady love. Ooh.
Hello,
Hello,
I am Denise,
and I am Gabriel.
and welcome to our new series, which we are featuring during the month of February as we celebrate the love month, Valentines, etc., etc. Our series is called Love Bites, and during the series, we're going to be looking at some key critical relationship things, relationship matters, relationship issues, and we're going to be just maybe not drilling down as long as we would do when we were doing a live,
No.
but certainly we'll be dropping some tidbits and some information for you so that you can make your relationship better, your marriage stronger, your love deeper. So, welcome to our first episode. Today we're looking at Touch Me. Touch Me, that's the name of our topic. Touch Me. You know, what brought this alive to me was some research I came across from the Gottman Institute, which said that men who kiss their wives every day actually live longer. You heard that, guys?
Wow.
Men who kiss their wives every day actually live longer.
And I want to live very long.
Definitely, I do want him to live long, and I want myself to live long as well. And the research went on to say that actually, they call it the 6-second kiss, but I want to talk about the 7-second kiss because I want to throw in another second for good measure. But actually, the 6-second kiss and the 20-second hug have been proven to be invaluable to the health of both members of the couple. So both the man and the woman, they benefit from this 6-second, which we are making the 7-second kiss, and the 20-second hug. When these things happen regularly, what has been proven is that it deepens the sense of connection, the sense of love, that emotional, spiritual, and even sexual connection between a husband and wife. That happens.
And it causes the physical to look better.
Exactly. It causes the physical to look better. It actually lowers blood pressure and improves heart health and well-being, a sense of well-being, a sense of feeling good about yourself.
Yeah.
All of that happens when couples touch.
Each other.
Touch each other. So today we want to talk a little bit about the importance of touch, and we are obviously going to share a little bit about ourselves because we love to do that in these fora. We love to let you know that we are people just like you. We've gone through our relationship challenges. We still have arguments, and disagreements from time to time, but we always come back to that space of healing, of discussion and communication, etc. But this evening we are focusing on touching. Today we're talking about touching and how important it is for couples to touch. In that courtship phase, or the phase before you settle down or get committed and get married, you establish your long-term relationship. In that phase, sometimes you are so much focused on making a good impression. You may hold that young lady's hand, you do a lot of hugging, you do a lot of kissing even, you're physically affectionate in public spaces, or you're even physically affectionate when you're alone, when you're out with friends and so on, because you want to show that I am interested in this person, or this person is mine. We are taking our relationship to deeper depths or newer heights and so on. And even in the early stages of a marriage, that connection can be something that we do a lot of, because there's that sense of newness, there's that sense of freshness in the relationship. But what happens after you've been together for a while? What happens after you've been married for a while? Do you forget about the importance of touch? Now, I'm going to ask my husband to weigh in on this, because as a man, we all hear that men are physical, right? And we know that men love the physical, and there's nothing wrong with that. The husbands, they love their wives' bodies, and that's to be expected. And we women as well can appreciate our spouses' bodies and that type of thing. Physique, yes. But I'm going to ask Gabriel, as a man, as my husband, what does touch mean to you in our relationship? Because I want this to be real.
No, in courtship, it is amazing that when you get to just touch her fingers, what goes through your entire brain, and body.
Yeah.
And as my wife said, you get married, and sometimes you think, well, as is being said, you've caught the bird, and the bird is in the cage, so you don't worry your head anymore. But no, you must worry your head. You must continue to touch. So you must continue to hug. And to tell you the truth, I love to hug my wife, you know, even though sometimes I must say I need to do it a lot more. But I love hugging her because what it
And
does...
I love being hugged.
And what it does, it creates that sense of cementing ourselves together.
Actually, that's what the research says. The research says that the more a couple hugs, they talk about the 20-second hug because they're saying at least it should be 20 seconds. The 6-second kiss, which we've added a second to it, the 7-second kiss. So Gabriel and Denise are branding the 7-second kiss. We just love how that sounds, the 7-second kiss. And we're going to challenge you at the end of what we're saying, you know, today. But, you know, those are the minimum. You know, those are the minimums that have been given.
Yeah.
But certainly, it's really about cultivating a touchy-feely relationship. And this is something that I've spoken about several times in presentations that we've done to couples and so on. People talk a lot about non-sexual touching. And particularly women who say, you know, every time he touches me, it doesn't have to be for sex, or it doesn't have to be to turn me on, or it doesn't have to be overtly erotic, which is true. But I often say that every touch between a husband and wife, and I'm going to peg this onto married couples, every touch between a husband and wife is really sexual. It is just that we don't really understand what sex in a relationship is. And I'm not going to go down that road right now with this particular episode.
Please don't.
But just to clarify, I think because the nature of marriage is spiritual, sexual, emotional in that order, because sex is a spiritual act as well as it is an emotional act. So those three components dovetail beautifully. And even when you're not having sex, it doesn't mean your relationship isn't sexual.
That's right.
People don't understand that, but we're going to talk about that in another segment, you know. But every time we touch, it doesn't mean that we're going to have sex or that we even want to have sex in that moment. But it's about establishing the exclusivity of the relationship, which is a sexual one.
Yes.
It's about establishing the romantic element in the relationship.
Which is sexual.
Is sexual. Because sexual just means that we acknowledge that we are man and woman.
Yes.
We are different.
Yes.
We interconnect. The two become one, as the Bible says. And those two fit together.
Yes.
And that's about the sex act, yes, but it's also about two minds and two spirits and two hearts coming together as one, two bodies. So it's all encompassing. So whenever you touch your spouse, it doesn't mean you're going to have sex or you're going to run off to the bed to have sex in that moment. But it means that certainly you're establishing the fact that I desire you.
Yes.
And it doesn't always mean desire you sexually in the moment, but I desire you as a person. I desire
As
to be
my
with
spouse.
you as my spouse, as my heart. I love you. I want to be with you. I want to show you how much you mean to me. And sometimes those touches can be inadvertent. You're not even aware that you're touching your spouse because it's so much a part of your relationship.
Yes.
Or sometimes those touches can be deliberate.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's good to have it deliberate, because when it's a deliberate act, what it does, it enforces the way how you feel about your spouse.
Each other. That's right.
Right? It creates a sense of belonging.
Yes.
Right.
And that is what the research actually says. It says it fosters that sense of connection. They talk about hormones being released. I don't know how many of you know about the hormones and the role they play. A lot of you might have heard about oxytocin.
Yeah.
Oxytocin is released when a couple comes together and they have sex and they have an orgasm. Oxytocin is released. Oxytocin is also released when a mother nurtures her baby, when she holds her child and she nurses her child, or even if she's not actually nursing, you know, she hugs him and she interacts with him or her. You know, oxytocin is released, and that is released, and that increases the sense of bonding between mother and child. So oxytocin is the glue hormone.
Connection.
It's the connection hormone. And then you have other feel-good hormones like dopamine and serotonin. So these things are very, very important in solidifying and establishing. So what we're talking about is actually backed by research. And so the whole spin-off about it adding to the quality of our lives and making our lives better, making us more healthy, more vibrant. People see us all the time and say, well, you two guys not aging. That's fine. We often say, well, maybe it's the love,
Maybe it's the touch.
Maybe it's the touching.
So we're going to keep touching.
It's that connection. And we just want to encourage you with this first love bite, which is called Touch Me, to touch your partner, touch your spouse, let them know how you feel. As I said, it can be inadvertent, it can be deliberate. Sometimes he or she may be going through something, and you just want to rest a hand on their arm or their hand, just give them a squeeze, touch the face. Some women love to rub their husbands' heads. I love that. Sometimes it can be naughty and sexual in marriage as well. We do a lot of that playful stuff. He's at the sink washing dishes and I might just pass and give him a tap on his butt. Or he might give me a squeeze somewhere. And that playfulness is also a part of the touching.
Yes.
But so touching is different. Sometimes it's sexual, sometimes it's playful and flirtatious. Sometimes it's just reassuring. It's just to offer comfort. It's just to offer emotional support, even in terms of spiritual support. There are times when I'm going through something and I need my husband to pray with me or for me, and I love when he lays his hands on me and prays. I love that my husband is a man of faith, that he's a man of God, and that I can trust him, I can rely on him to be there for me during those difficult moments as well. So touching is multifaceted. And if you have been in your marriage, in your relationship, and not paying any attention to it and taking it for granted, or thinking that the only time you should touch is when you're in bed having intercourse, please rethink that.
And start anew.
Start anew. Understand that touching regularly should be a definite part of your marriage. And that research that says the husband that kisses his wife every morning, we actually used to do that every single morning, especially when my husband used to be going to work in another direction and I in one direction. That definitely used to happen. So sometimes now, it doesn't happen as often on the morning, but definitely we are going to challenge ourselves. And we are going to challenge you guys out there. We want you to embark on this 7-second kiss and 20-second hug every day for 1 week. And when we come back next week, we want to hear from you. You can actually message us in the feed below this post. So whether you're viewing this post on Facebook, on Instagram, on my YouTube channel, or on TikTok, I'm going to invite you to weigh in. Let me know what happens in your relationship. Do you touch? Do you kiss? Do you hold hands when you go out? When you're at home? Sometimes we're just watching TV and I'm holding on to my husband's hand and we're dovetailing fingers. Sometimes he's in the car and he's driving and I rest my hand on his leg.
On my leg.
And so on. Give it a little rub. And this is all a part of our relationship. And it does strengthen. It does make us feel loved.
So we want to hear from you.
Yes. Drop your comments, share your stories.
You have 1 week to do this.
You have 1 week to embark on this challenge with us. The 7-second kiss and the 20-second hug. Try to do it every day. And let us know how this adds value to your relationship. Thank you for joining us for this first episode of Love Bites our series happening in the month of February. We're definitely going to see you next week for another episode of Love Bites. See ya. Have a good one. Bye.
Stay